Welcome to the Common Ground Initiative. I'm Anthony Payton, and I hope to highlight the diversity of our communities with stories of people the average Granite Stater might not get to see or meet. The goal is to clarify misconceptions and find the thread that binds us all together as one New Hampshire community. On what was a relaxed day for me, I went to the apartment of my co-parent, Shantae, to pick up my daughter. It's in these moments that I get to watch her in action. Shantae gives new meaning to the word multitasking. While I was there, she bounced between answering emails, showing the kids the proper way to clean their rooms, and making dinner. She blew past me at least 5 times within 2 minutes and wasn't thrown off course by a single thing. As she went about her business, she spoke about doing laundry, tending to her ailing parents, and then making time for herself. Good tea, soothing music, walks, and acupuncture when she can. Some days she burns sage, some days it's a few reruns of Sanford and Son when she has the time. I'm sure that there are plenty of mothers who can relate to that. Her life is likely very typical of many women. Hectic schedules, balancing love of family and career with community. These are some of the common threads that bind us. Shantae's story isn't different from many others, regardless of race. I wanted you to meet this fantastic woman and learn about her journey. Shantae is amazing and unique in her own way, but the way she takes care of her family, career, and community is not unique. And while it's gotten better, the multitasking mom businesswoman is not the narrative that gets repeated most often about Black women. Instead, whether it's implied or said outright, the myth of the Black woman as a drain on society, the one holding a toddler as she's flanked with 10 more kids around her with her hands out, is what has shaped the perception of Black women in this country. To those who still hold that image in their minds, let me tell you about my mother. My mother built a life with my father, but she was still strong as an individual. We lived in the projects of Brooklyn, and I was blessed to have a mother who prioritized and sacrificed her own health and goals just to push us forward. Mom kept things going. She cooked, educated, disciplined, and loved us. There were plenty of examples of this beauty and strength in my building tenement. There was Miss Betty Hartley, Miss Gale, and Miss Buggs, who not only raised their own children and grandchildren, they looked over and protected everyone else's children as well. They helped their children with homework and made sure that the chores were done in the house. Regardless of their race, they were providers, hunter-gatherers. During times of economic instability, I've seen Black women stretch food to feed huge families, and those meals were delicious. And let me tell you some more about Shantae. She's a long-term resident of New Hampshire, doting mother, business owner, manager, community leader, and activist. She's also my co-parent. Her schedule mirrors that of so many mothers in New Hampshire. However, her life, joys, fears, and accomplishments can be seen through the lens of a Black woman living in a Granite State. Shantae's story also has deeper meaning for me, as she's my former fiancé. I know some of this story well because when she speaks of her children, she speaks of our children. As a co-parent, there were parts of her story that tugged at my heart. Parts of it made me feel guilty because I was in prison for so many of those key moments. Yet she soldiered through it. Furthermore, she continued to be a stakeholder in the uplifting of her community. We may not be together anymore, but we've gotten to a point where we make sure that the children's futures are at the forefront of our dreams and goals. Shantae's dreams are vivid, and she's doing everything in her power to make them a reality. When one speaks of Black families living in New Hampshire, very few can compare to the longevity and familiarity of the Whitted family. I was blessed to have been welcomed into their world around 2009 when Shantae and I first met. Compared to a handful of women I encountered, she was leaps and bounds ahead in terms of drive and maturity. She was family-oriented, compassionate, and diverse, attributes that still hold firm to this day. I've watched her assist in many community programs and functions, and her prep work is meticulous. I hope to share with you some of the magic that I've been privy to for quite some time, and I believe that many will find some insight within her story. I would respectfully ask any of you to answer this question. How different is Shantae from yourself or any woman in your life? Are there any similarities or common threads that bind us? If your answer is yes, well then, that's a wonderful start to bridging gaps and building all of our communities and collective families. This program was produced in collaboration with me, Anthony Payton, the Granite State News Collaborative, and the Marlon Fitzwater Center for Communications. You can read more of my work at collaborativenh.org and listen to more of these stories wherever you get your favorite podcasts.